For more on the summit and the crisis in Yemen, we're joined by Ivan Eland, who's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He is the director of the Center of Peace and Liberty. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me on.
First, the Arab League announced it would like to form a joint Arab military force. Tell us what this means.
Well, I think they may use this for not only the Yemeni crisis, but other crises in the future. I think that's a good thing because I think it alleviates some of the need for the U.S. to intervene in places. We'll see if it's effective, but you know, this is sort of the first of its kind.
Yemen was also a main topic at the agenda. Which countries are getting involved? And tell us more about Yemen becoming a proxy battlefield for other countries.
Well, you have Iran on one side supporting the Houthi rebels, and they're also supporting the former president, Saleh. And then on the other side are Egypt and Saudi Arabia, and they're supporting the current president, Hadi. And of course, the U.S. is helping the Saudis with intelligence and logistics. The Saudis are doing the airstrikes against the Houthi rebels, and there may be a ground invasion coming up here. But the U.S. is sort of in the background helping the Sunni side against the Shia side. And that's what really it boils down to in lots of countries. Yemen, Syria, Iraq, it's the Sunnis versus the Shia.
This is not going away anytime soon, is it, Ivan?
Now, the Saudis are this is very interesting because usually the Saudis try to pay other people to provide their security or pay off people. This time, I think they're sufficiently alarmed because Yemen is right on their border, and Iran. They feel Iran. They're in a battle with Iran over the region, and Iran has had a lot of victories recently, and Saudi Arabia hasn't. So I think the Saudis are very nervous because they're taking matters into their own hands.
This is really bad timing for the U.S. as it negotiates with Iran over the nuclear deal. But tell us how else the U.S. is impacted by this, and if you see them getting involved in any way.
Well, U.S. policy in Iraq, we're helping the Iran-led Shiite militias fight the Sunni ISIS. In Yemen, it's just the opposite. We're helping the Sunni countries around there fight the Houthi rebels, which are Shia. So we're on both sides of it. And then, as you mentioned, we have these talks going with Iran over its nuclear program. So, of course, all these are linked. The administration has tried not to link them, but you can't help but link them. In foreign affairs, everything is linked with everything else, whether politicians will tell you or it's not. So it's very complicated because these Iranian nuclear negotiations are right down to the wire the last couple of days here to get a framework agreement. And so we'll see if that happens. But all these wars are affecting those negotiations.
Well, President Hadi clearly unhappy with what's going on, but really, what did Yemen have to lose in all of this? The country was basically in the midst of an all-out civil war before this even began.
Right, and I think what you're going to see is if there's a Saudi invasion, that the Saudis will try to bring stability to the country. Now, whether they can do that or not, Al-Qaeda is also operating there. And unfortunately, I think the U.S. has exacerbated the Yemeni civil war by battling Al-Qaeda because I think the numbers of Al-Qaeda have increased. At least the documentation seems to indicate that after the U.S. drone attacks. So the U.S. has been in there. Of course, we've lost our drone base there now, but the Saudis take over part of the country or all of it, we may get that drone base back. So, but I'm not sure those drones attacks are helping stability there, and there was a civil war going on there, and there's a couple different civil wars going on there at the time. But I think this is also a personal power struggle between Saleh, who's the former ruler, and on one side, and Hadi, who's the current ruler on the other side.
Alrighty, Ivan Eland, always great to see you with the Center on Peace and Liberty. Enjoy your time there, and I'm sure we'll see you again soon.